In today's video, we're going to talk about how to be more likable, but specifically, we're going to focus on this concept I call perception supersedes intent. Let's talk about it. Welcome to another episode of Career Strategies. My name is Rodney Hughes, Mr. 100%, and the purpose of my channel is really to teach you strategies that can help you advance your career. So if that's something you're interested in learning more about, smash that subscribe button and join the family. And don't forget to hit that little bell icon so you won't miss out on any of this extremely valuable content. All right. So again, what we're talking about here is how to be more likable. Perception supersedes intent. Let's start with this. Why is being more likable something that you should be focused on? It's something that should be at the top level of your mind. When it comes to your career, okay, and when I say career, I'm not just saying if you have a job, okay, but I will say this, especially if you have a job, okay. But this applies whether you have a job or whether you are an entrepreneur and you're operating your own business. Doesn't matter. Okay, this concept still applies. You want to be likable. Okay, and the reason why you want to be perceived as likable is because it makes it easier to do business. Okay, and here's the deal. Once you become of working age, whether you come into the workforce full-time right after high school or whether you get into the workforce after you leave college, the reality is once you enter into the workforce on a full-time basis, the overwhelming majority of your waking hours are going to be spent either doing a job or operating a business. Okay, that's the reality. Okay. And because that's going to make up the overwhelming majority of your waking hours, the reality is that most people don't like interacting in business with people that they do not like. Okay. Now here's the thing. I don't want this to be, misconstrued in any way, shape, fashion, or form. I am not telling you that I want you to go around and, go around kissing people's ass. That's not what I'm trying to tell you here. Okay, what I am saying, however, is that I want you to focus on just in general being a pleasant person, being more likable, being easy to work with. Okay, all of these things are very important because here's the reality. When you're communicating, especially when it comes, what actually made me think about this particular topic is one of the things I hate doing personally is communicating via email. Now, this may come as a surprise to some people because I'm a millennial, okay? And millennials have this bad rap for not liking to communicate in person over the phone. But see, I prefer to communicate that way, okay? I prefer to either interact over the phone or interact in person, okay? I don't like doing the whole text messaging or emailing thing. And the only reason I don't like it is because you lose context in those mediums, right? So if I send you an email or I send you a text message, it's so easy for that avenue of communication to be misconstrued. Okay. Now, what does that have to do? Why did I think about this particular topic today? Because what I want you to understand is this: you have to pay close attention to how you interact with people throughout your career, because again, even if you intend your message to come across in a certain kind of way when you're interacting with people, if you're not paying extra close attention to how you communicate and how you interact with people, they will create a perception of you that may end up working against you in the long run of your career. Okay, especially when it comes to people who are key influencers, you want them to have a perception of you being a winner, of you being someone that's great to be around. This is a great person. This is a person of integrity. This is a person who puts their best foot forward in everything that they do. Okay, that's the type of perception that you want to create. Okay, on the other hand, you got to be careful about how you go about doing that, though. Okay, because here's the thing. Let me give you an example of how your intent can be right, but you know, the perception that you end up creating can be all wrong. So like for instance, I most of my career has been in the sales profession. Okay. And in the sales profession, you know, a lot of times some of the people who get into this space tend to be like raging bulls. Okay. And sometimes they can get, you know, because they've seen all these movies of these hard driving salespeople and all this type of stuff. And so they can come into a sales environment sometime and they can be like that bull, like where they're just, you know, taking over and just stampeding and they're hustling so hard. But the way they're coming across, even though their intent is pure, their intent is they want to provide for themselves, they want to provide for their family, they want to put their best foot forward. That could be their intent, but depending on how they go about the process, okay, they could end up approaching the process in a way that can be, instead of being viewed as being somewhat assertive, it could be viewed as being aggressive. You understand? And so, you know, that's just one example of someone you know, having a pure intent, but the perception doesn't come off right. And see, if that person does that enough, they could end up, you know, creating some bad relationships with people who, you know, down the line, they could end up leveraging those relationships. Okay. Another example of this may be, let's say that you and another coworker, or you and somebody that, either a coworker or a client or whatever that you're dealing with, let's say that they prefer to communicate via email. Okay. And the way they come across seems like, you know, you don't really know how to read their emails, right? And you're kind of in a rush or whatever. And so you just kick out an email, right? But instead of starting off, hey, Patrick, or hey, Stephanie, hope you're having a great day. Do you have this, and this? You just say, hey, do you have this, or this? And then you send it off, right? Now, see, for me personally, because I have that kind of A-type personality, it doesn't bother me that much. And honestly, that's probably the preferred way I would communicate via email, because I don't like communicating via email anyway. But, okay, even though my intent would be pure in the sense that if I send you that type of email, I'm just sending it to you because I want to just get the information that I need so that I can take actions that would benefit us both. The reality is the person on the receiving end of that email may interpret the second email as being very aggressive. Okay. And even though it's not grounded in facts, okay, the reality is perception is fact, okay, to most people, okay? And so sometimes you have to go out of your way to create a perception that you are likable, okay, that you are easy to work with, that you're not confrontational, okay? And, you know, listen, when I say this, I feel like this message is more for me than it is for you. Okay. Because my natural state is to be like that. But the more as I continue in my career, and as I see how valuable relationships are, you have to understand. And one of the things I've come to understand is that it's very important. The perception that you give off is very, very important. It's important for your short-term success, but it's definitely important for your long-term success. Okay. I see people, like, for instance, as an executive recruiter, there are, I see it more in this space than ever before, how valuable having the right perception is in this business. Right? The way you carry yourself, the way you interact with candidates, the way you interact with companies, you have to be able to create a likable perception on both the candidate side and the company side if you want to succeed. Okay, because it's not like a simple transaction or a simple type of exchange. It's an exchange that could take months, right? It could take months for a candidate to actually get hired. And you don't want to be combative with a candidate as an executive recruiter, or when you're dealing with a company, especially when you're dealing with a company, you know, you want the people at that company to feel like you have their best interests in mind, which you should have their best interests in mind. Okay. But all of this, the key word there was you want them to feel, right? And that goes back to perception. Okay. It's your responsibility to do your best to control the perception that you give off to other people. Okay. You know, it's real popular nowadays for people to have a, oh, I don't care what other people are thinking type mentality. And there are certain spaces within your career where that might be effective to have that mindset. But you definitely can't have that mindset you can't take an absolute type mentality when it comes to having that type of mindset. Because what other people think about you can either help your career tremendously, or it can hurt your career tremendously. Okay. Listen, I hope you got great value out of this video. If you did, do me a favor, support my book. I wrote a book called The Ugly Truth About Getting Hired: How to Land the Job of Your Dreams Regardless of the Competition. It's a short read. Shouldn't take you any more than maybe an hour to 3 hours. And I'm going to walk you from point A all the way to point Z and share with you some ideas that can help you eliminate 99% of your competition in the job interview process. Okay. And so that you can position yourself as the ideal candidate. This is a must-have book. If you'd like to support this book and pick up a copy, all you got to do is go to my website, www.theuglytruthbook.com, or you could click the link in the description area below. And when you order the physical copy of this book, I will give you 100% free the downloadable copy of this book, so you can have immediate access to this content. All right. And also, I have created a free virtual training platform called Interview Prep University. It is designed to be like when you get in that mode of actually getting a job and you're in the middle of the actual interview process. This is another resource that I make available that's designed so that you can have access to this information 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And so it's 100% free. All you got to do is go to www.interviewprepuniversity.com. Again, that's www.interviewprepuniversity.com, and you can get immediate access. All right. Listen, thanks for checking out this video. If you like this video, smash that like button, drop me a comment below, and listen, if you haven't done so already, subscribe to my channel. I'll be dropping valuable content on a daily basis. All right. Thanks so much for checking out the video. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.